Non-suicidal self-injury is much more common than most of the general public believe. We have found reliably 14 to 24% of youth and young adults will admit to our face in an interview that they're engaging in non-suicidal self-injury. So 14 to 24%. That's a significant proportion, clearly. You'll get often an individual who might bruise with their fist, repeatedly pounding their thigh until they're bruised, or hitting their head against a wall or a desk until they'll have bruises on their face. And burning, of course, a common one that you see is with cigarettes, where you'll see individuals burning their arms. The majority of these individuals, over half, never share this with any adult or mental health professional. It's not attention-getting per se, because most of it is secretive or spoken about just between friends. We think a lot of that goes on online. We had no idea there would be so many videos on YouTube that dealt with self-injury, both in an artistic, creative way, talking about what self-injury was and people's individual experience of self-injury in an artistic way, and those which were actually individuals, characters, people talking about their personal experience with self-injury and even showing their self-injury and even enacting live self-injury.
Images, it was just kind of, I guess, almost hour after hour of, I guess, naturally focusing on the more difficult parts of their lives. And I guess that's one of the nice things about having a website that, you know, we're hoping to show more of the recovery component of that, as opposed to just showing that kind of recurring over and over sadness, that over and over melancholy.
It was much larger than we expected, much more graphic in some instances, and it was clearly a community. It was not recovery oriented. It was not sending out the positive message of, we can overcome this, I've been there, you can get better, we can do this. It was much more the message of, don't start because you'll never be able to stop. The first cut and it just gets worse and worse, and documenting that. And yet, who is watching these videos to go and seek them? The vast majority have already started. So we were concerned that there wasn't more of a recovery orientation in these videos.
I remember coding the videos, especially with Mike, in the basement in our lab, and at some points we couldn't even watch the images. So I think it just really hit home that the salience of self-injury, because you write about it, but to actually see it over and over again was really shocking.
It's really uncomfortable. It's very emotionally charged, and it's very difficult to watch. And you know, I think if I have that kind of reaction watching it, I can only imagine what someone who's dealing with self-injury is thinking when they see it. You know, there's a lot of research out there about the trigger effect, that, you know, if you see some imagery that brings to mind self-injury, that it can make you more likely, if you are already someone who self-injures, it can make you more likely to want to or feel the need to self-injure again. And some of the videos out there with very graphic content didn't have trigger warnings, which is concerning.
There are a lot of myths and misconceptions that are held not just by the general public, but by professionals, because this is such a new phenomenon amongst the general community, and many of us as professionals were trained 10, 20 years ago. So basic information will make all the difference. In terms of knowing just some basic facts about what are the functions and why do people do this, and how to handle in terms of if they are doing online activities, do you just say turn off your computer, something like that? No, you don't say that, because it will go underground. Simple information like that can be helpful. SiOS, which is the Self-Injury Outreach and Support website, is particularly unique and essential, because we are developing the awareness and information about non-suicidal self-injury here in North America, the UK, Australia, the Western kind of nations and culture. But in other more remote areas, or in the non-Western cultures, or places where for political reasons you don't have as much access to this kind of information, there's still a very, very old notion of what self-injury is, although we know, because my team has done studies in India, in South Africa, in Iran. We're in the process of in Iran, and in the Middle East, in Jordan. And we know that self-injury, non-suicidal self-injury, is happening there. It's somewhat different, but it's similar. So this website will reach and provide training and information to the professionals working with these individuals, as well as the individuals themselves, in places where the discussion about self-injury has barely even begun. And it can make such a difference, just a little bit of information.